Hello, my divine, infinite human beings. You're all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And welcome to the Infinite Human Talk Show. I'm your host, Elizabeth Monroy, and I have some really powerful information to share with you right now. And the most important thing is that this world that we've been living in is about to go crazy. I mean, really, crazy, like a mad world. If you think things have been crazy, now the volume is about to turn up and things are going to become just so unstable, so crazy, so wild. And I felt a real strong calling to come on today and to prepare you because you who are attuning to my voice are the ones who are holding the stability. This is information to help you navigate these times and not only navigate them, not only survive them, but thrive in them. This is your time. We're watching, during this Libra season, the rebalancing of the scales. So the world as we know it, the power that has been is disintegrating, is crumbling, is falling to pieces. It's coming, apart at the seams. And this is our time. So this is vital that right now you really begin to tune inward, not be distracted by all the craziness that is manifesting and coming out in the world today. And it's time for you to become the highest heroic version of yourself so you can now connect deeply, inwardly with infinite source and a massive amount of creative flow that is now available to you so you can do what you came here to do, so you can be the change, so you can be the foundation, so that you can be the rock that others can rely on in this crazy, storm of change that we are now entering into the rest of this year and especially the upcoming year, because this is a new beginning. This is a beautiful time. It's a wonderful time. But if you pay your attention, okay, pay, that's why they say pay, because it's quantum, it's your energy. If you keep looking outside of yourself for cues about what's going on, then you're going to be dragged down with the masses, and sometimes the M is silence. So you don't want to be in that boat, because you came here to be a leader. You came here to lay the foundation. You came here to be the change. So today we're just going to kind of with just easy loving support to just get you on the right page, to help really create the mindset and to remember and wake up to how powerful you are, to wake up from this coma that you've been in so you can remember who you are, where you came from, and what you came here to do, because it's vital. It's vital that we all start doing this now. So I know there's that, okay, media has been, most people are catching on that media has been fake. It's been a show, it's just a lot of it's been staged. In fact, most of it. But, now it's bleeding into social media, and social media, has become, they say, enjoy the show, enjoy the popcorn. Well, it's become beyond a show. It's become a soap opera. And, they're always throwing twists and new things. And some of the stuff grabs you. Some of the stuff is great to hear, especially comes out of Trump's mouth. You're like, or one of his, cabinets or something. Yeah, you're hearing a partial, not all of it, partial disclosure. And that feels good. Of course that feels good. But don't let them hook you in, because, then you'll be like, yeah, they know what's going on, and they're pulling you, they're distracting you away from the job at hand. So I'm going to talk about the job at hand in a minute, but I just want to set this up with all this stuff that's going on, because now especially now we have AI videos, so you cannot, they say seeing is believing. Well, that's not true anymore. They can create anything, cats that sing and children that, run companies. I mean, anything can happen now with AI on social media. So, that, and now we're seeing, it's just crazy. The women who are men or men who are women, and then we're seeing actors who are pretending to be actors, who are pretending to be actors, and we don't know, who's real and who's not. We're seeing all kinds of you know, for example, we saw the whole Windsor Gala. I saw some of that on social media. Like I said, I don't pay attention to that, but where it was all this stuff like who's breaking the royal protocol, and is Trump in there, to bust everything wide open, and he's showing the light, and beautiful story. I mean, great script. Kudos to all the Hollywood writers who left Hollywood and are now writing for Q, but. uh, look deeper, because at that dinner, everyone that showed up was a major male industry leader of AI organizations, the leader of Microsoft, the leader of Apple, the leader of BlackRock. I mean, they were all there, and they were all, behind the scenes plotting and slicing up, our planet to try to maintain whatever control they can have through artificial technology. Now, is that something I'm afraid of? No. Do I know what they're doing? Yes. Does it bother me? No, because nothing that they can do at this point that is not in alignment with the Kristalla spiral of organic timelines, with divine infinite source, with this massive, massive high frequencies that we have now entered, it's going to crumble. They're building castles on sand. It will be washed away because nothing will endure unless it is properly encrypted, encoded to the higher frequencies of the Kristalla spiral. So they're clutching right now. They're grasping. They're doing whatever they can. And I talked to a dear friend of mine. Who's been on the show last night. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but she was telling me about all the incredible laws that they're putting in place in England, and how they're making people pay income taxes before in the future years based on income they don't even have yet, and the digital IDs and how hard it is to be getting a passport. And what they're doing is they're so desperate because they know that the jig is up. They know that what they do is not going to endure. So they're throwing everything they possibly can right now at you to keep you feeling, oh my God, they're winning, or to get distracted, or to get, to buy into this illusion of their power. Now, I think most people are beginning to realize that it always has been an illusion of power, because they really do need our consent. The problem is we've been asleep. We've been in a coma, and 10% of our consciousness has been functioning, but the 90% of it has been subconscious. And they've taken the pen out of our hands and they begin to write our stories. So we've been just, oh yes, okay, we'll do that. Yes. Oh, okay, stand in this line. Okay, 6 feet apart. Okay, and that's just the latest thing. But they've been doing it forever. Oh yes, get married, have children, work hard, come home and consume and die. So those are the programs. Whatever. I mean, there's so many programs, and that's what you're doing right now. The work at hand is to deprogram yourself and to find your heroic self. So that's what's going on. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep you back in the program with, traumatic things, with, fear-based, news, breaking news, with lots of show and tell, with these bogus, tyrannical digital IDs, and all this stuff. They're trying to make you buy into the false belief that you're powerless, that they have the power, and they don't have the power anymore. So Don't feed it. Don't go there. Don't play their games. Don't play by their corrupted, warped rules anymore. Just, out of your peripheral vision. I mean, I know everyone, sees the news or the papers or here's what's going on. I understand. And I always kind of, oh, this person was, killed. Oh, they're doing this over in England. Oh, but don't take it to heart. Don't let it interfere. Don't let it penetrate your blissful bubble of oneness of who you are. Don't give it any power over you. I'm saying this because so many people have come to me. Well, listen, what do you think about this? Well, what's going on? Well, did this really happen? Or was it a psyop? And blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. What does it have to do with me and my soul mission and what I'm doing? Nothing. Nothing. I'm on the new timeline. That's all happening in a time loop that is dissipating. In fact, it's going to be to the point where it never really even happened in the real organic timelines. So don't fret. Don't give into fear. Don't give your power away. Don't pay your attention. Don't be distracted away from this wonderful, powerful time you've been waiting for eons, for billions of years. Okay, just the enormity of it. You've been waiting for this. This is your time. Sure, you might not understand everything. That's fine because you're just waking up. It's like coming out of a coma. And that's normal. There's nothing to judge. You've been in a coma to protect you. But now, it's like the munchkins come out wherever you are. You can come out now. It's okay. The Wicked Witch is dead. So, you can come out. It's safe. If you're waking up now, you're waking up to the greatness of who you are, and it's going to be okay. You just baby steps and start to come back and remember your future. Remember who you are and why you came here. And rewrite your life story to your heroic infinite self. Now, what does that mean? Because that's a huge statement there. There was a movie out a long time ago, and it was kind of a karate movie, but it was about a guy who went around. It was from the lower frequencies, the dualistic world, but he went around like actually killing the other hymns, because there were like all these other hymns, and it was the one that killed everyone else was the one who survived. Almost like the Highlander, but so the point was that he had all these other copies of himself running around, and every time he met one, they did a karate thing and one would win over the other, and the one left standing was the one who got all the power. All right, so let's take that to a higher level. So in a way, that's what's happening now. Your heroic self, which is listening to me now. So if you wonder, well, who's my heroic self? You are, because you're the one that's incarnate now at this time frame. You're in this now moment, and you're bringing all of your other identities, and you can call them past lives, but since there's no time, they're actually all running around now all over the place. And it's not like in some ways you are killing them, but you're actually putting them to peace. Okay, you're stopping that time loop of trauma that they're in, because all these other yous were in a time frame and in a frequency where you were being victimized, where you were being traumatized, where you had a lot of things that were causing what you're experiencing today, which is coming up to be healed. So all those parts of you that are not the heroic version are now coming in and being killed or killed off or being integrated and alchemized into the you are now. And it's not like they're killing them, they're going away. It's that you are gleaning the lessons, but healing all the trauma that has been holding you back, the fear, the wounds, the hurts, the implants, the miasma, the ancestral miasma, all those things that have been holding you back, sabotaging your progress, which has kept you, in this time loop, are now disintegrating. And that's what the true heroic hero's journey is about. It's about assimilating, integrating, healing all this dark side from all your identities. And that's the most important work at hand right now. All right. And that's why I created the course, Rewriting Your Life Story, in the workbook. And it's all now available. And I'm saying this because it's really helpful. The people that did it, they really got a lot out of it. And I have a wonderful review on there by one of the gals who said it really changed her life. So, it helps to have some external support during this, and to help you to be mindful and to understand the enormity of what you're going through right now. Because I know a lot of people are, myself included, I had just a really horrific dream last night that I knew it was processing past lives, and it was about being part of a satanic ritual where I was going to be like sacrificed. And they were saying, okay, do you want to go first or last? I'm like, I don't want to go first. And then I said, wait a minute, they're trying to get me to agree. I said, if they're getting me to agree, that means I have a choice. It was kind of like that Star Trek moment, if you ever saw it, where the female captain said, I don't have to go with you. And so, we have a choice right now. So that's part of the waking up saying. And so what I did was I just backed off, and I ended up sneaking out. It's kind of terrifying because I was like, oh my God, they're after me. But, I just walked away to freedom. So that's what it's about. And that's what the course is helping you to do, to walk away from these mind control programs that you just think are so much part of you, you can't objectify. So it really helps to put them outside of you, like a book that you're reading, or even like a film. You can turn on and off, and you can observe, and then you can change it. You can edit it. You can rewrite it to what you want to have happen. So all that's on my new community. It's still kind of, you can go in there, you can join the free part, and it's in the process, but I've been really pushed to get it off the ground. And it's on my website, www.infinitehumanschool.com. And that's on the screen there, Infinite Human School. So if you can go there and check it out, just join it, to get some information. And then there's different levels where you get the courses for free if you subscribe, and you get, coaching, like coaching and meetups, and events and all kinds of wonderful things. I've just got all these ideas coming, but that's what the next step. Okay. So the first step is to clear yourself, because when you clear out these old programs that are subtly sabotaging you and just stealing the pen away from you creating what you want to create for your life, in your life. When you do that, you clear out a vast amount of space to download all this amazing creative energy. And you start this creative flow that has been interrupted. It's been interrupted. Girl, interrupted. You've been interrupted. That flow, that divine ease, that chi, that infinite source that just flows through you freely. And that's, it's been diseased. That's what disease is. So it's been interrupted or diseased. Now you're going to allow it, and you're going to be having so many amazing ideas, so many visions, so many niggles and nudges. And this is the time to follow them. All right. Please do not do what, and I've done it, and we're programmed to do it, because it's that black magic Babylonian curse of money that makes you believe it's scarce, that you have to work hard, you have to sell your soul for it, that you have to do something. And the first thing that enters people's mind that sabotages them is that, well, I can't waste my time doing that. I've got to make money. Will that make money for me? Will that make money for me? So what's going to happen is you're going to get some amazing ideas, and they might be really childlike. They might just be things that seem silly, that seem, superficial, that seem, too fun. You might get invention ideas, or you want to start painting you've never painted, or writing this story, or singing, creating songs. You've never done that, or, designs. You might start doodling things, or you might start, wanting to build something. But please fan that creative sparkle. Please feed that, because it might be a little tiny, tiny, tiny thing, tiny morsel of a tidbit of an idea, and it will become huge in the future. And you'll be looking back going, God, thank God I didn't squelch that. Thank God I didn't just crush that. And crush it in the old sense of the word. I know crush is like the good thing now. I didn't cast that aside. So this is the time to make time for yourself, not get so busy. And I always telling you that, so that you can try some painting, try play with some of your ideas, scribble in a journal some of the ideas and the downloads that you're getting. These are crucial because your star family, I've talked a lot about the star family, and in my community, I have a meditation to help you to meet your monadic family in the higher dimensions that are coming online to help you, to remind you who you are, to awaken you to your soul mission. So it's time to start, communicating with them, opening yourself up to them, receiving all this information. And don't worry, because your little tiny pea brain, and everyone always worships the brain, like the brain's everything. Come on, guys. Brain's just a little computer, like AI. I mean, just nothing really, just but if you can allow your mind to open, you can start to access the infinite, and then you can get help with anything you need, because you are open to receiving infinite help. So you can accomplish anything, because the infinite is at your fingertips. All right. I remember I read something about Ford said, I don't think he even went to graduated from high school, but he said, I have a phone, Ford, the car guy. I have phones on my desk and I can pick it up and call anyone I need to ask a question, So it doesn't, you're not going to know everything. Nobody's going to know everything, because we're finite, and your brain is finite. But as you begin to strengthen through listening, through implementing your intuition in the world, through trusting yourself and trusting your connection to infinite source, it'll be like floodgates are opening. This river, the crystal river, will start to flow, and you'll be. I swear, I especially when I'm under duress, like when Peter died, I painted like you couldn't believe. I mean, I just picked up the brush and painted the most incredible paintings. And I never considered myself a painter. Writing is the same way for me, or I just get visions, and now I'm starting to write them down, because I'm going to my the Crystallis platform in the higher dimensions, on the Aurora platforms, and communicating with my star family, and they're telling me, the guardians, and we are part of the guardians. So the time is coming up very soon. In fact, even Asiana is creating a program to help us with that, to link and get information directly from the guardians, who are our family. They're our family. They're our star family. They're our monad. They're us, the higher aspects of us. So we need to start opening those floodgates and letting that information come. Which is why we need to stop getting so distracted with the external world, because that's part of what it's doing right now. They want to keep your consciousness ensnared in their little tiny finite systems. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day. You're like all in this Saturnian time slot, which is ridiculous, because there is no time. So stop being enslaved in the time matrix, by the time, the prison of time, by the Saturnian time mechanisms that they put in place, the implants, the programs that run in your brain. Stop putting all your energy pleasing the wrong people, taking care of the wrong people. Stop. And most of you have probably had people disappear from your life, and it's left a void. I've been talking about that, but it's a void to allow creativity and higher dimensional resources and beings to enter into your life now. So mourn it if you need to, but don't go back looking for it, because they're enslaving, ensnaring your consciousness. And that's all you are, is consciousness. So you need, if you want to be free, everyone's like, I want to be free from the matrix, I want to be abundant, I want to be blissful, I want to be on the path of joy. Well, let go. If you're holding two things in your hand, you don't have a room to pick up something new. So you have to let go of the old timelines, let go of the old structure, let go of the old people that kept you running ragged. So you never had time for yourself. You never had time to go inward. Let go of those jobs that, I mean, when I'm go back to the States, I'm always kind of walking around with my mouth open, at the culture. And, I'm hearing people say, I work 24/7, 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. What? What? You're going to have some faith. And if the job is not fulfilling you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and socially, it's the wrong job. So you're going to have to, I know they get you there, because everything's so expensive now. And, it's like you're paycheck to paycheck and blah, blah. It's the prison. It's the Babylonian black magic, curse and prison that they've created. But, it's not reality. Even here in Europe, most people, I've said this so many times, they own their homes, they pass them down generation to generation. So everyone has a home. They grow their own food. Or, the farmers, they all have land, they covet their land and they grow their food. And, it's here and it doesn't cost very much, and, there's not taxes on your home. And I mean, it's just so different. So you have to kind of negotiate yourself outside of the system to the best of your ability, wherever you are. Start where you are now. But I was writing in my newsletter that the key, okay, the future, we're in this survive, thrive, dilemma. I wrote about that in 2020. Here we're starting down that road. And, everyone, okay, first of all, let me just say, everyone's been routed onto artificial technology. All right. I'm accepting it. It's been hard, but it's what we have right now. But I promise you, very soon now, we're going to start remembering the future and this Tartarian ancient technology of divine technology of high frequencies that just exists from the ethers, that is free, that abounds. It's going to start coming back online, and many of you are already working on it, are already remembering it, and it's going to start very subtly, perhaps in reclusive places. And that's part of what we're doing right now. As everything goes to pot, as everything goes to hell outside of us, we're just turning inward, very using that creative downloads that I was talking about, and creating new things. And I talked to my friend last night. She said she was all trained in traditional music, and all of a sudden she's starting to write music. Some people are starting to, just whatever, create something completely new. And if you're doing something, don't sit there and say, wait a minute, am I going to be able to sell this? Or how am I going to market this? This doesn't seem to fit into the market plan. You know how you're supposed to like ask, do market testing, which I never do. That's so much BS. Don't ever go there, because what you're getting now and what you're working on now is for another timeline, is for the future. And get busy now, because as soon as you get it finished, the market will be there. Supply and demand, people will be beating down the door to have what you are working on, what you have been working on these past several months and years. It's a big job you have. And so you just have to trust. And it's like a writer that writes a book. You don't know if you're going to have a market for it, but you have to do it. It's inside of you. And you have to trust that the reason you're getting this is because it's going to be for people that are going to need it when it's ready. You're going to have to trust the divine timing. Same with the ancient technology that's coming online, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, the artificial technology right now, which is being shoved down our face because, it's their last resort of controlling us and categorizing us and keeping us all in one world order, neatly, digitized and categorized and controlled, and big brother's watching your bank accounts and your every move and surveying you and all that stuff. But it is a way for us to connect with each other. All right. That's one thing I finally, surrendered to. Me and my big ego. And because, why is it that way? Because most of us we don't even know who we are, many of us, and that's fine. I've met some very highly evolved, encrypted souls who were, just tellers or bankers or lawyers and weren't interested in spirituality at all. And all of a sudden, uh, a white lion came to them in their dreams or something, or they started seeing things or having synchronicity symbolisms coming up, or people talking to them, or their third eye opening, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa, what's going on? My reality just shifted. Well, who am I? And that's beautiful. Okay, so many of you may be starting to experience that, or you may experience it more and more, which you will in the future. So it's nice to have a community where you can kind of realize you're not the insane ones. The world's going insane. The world is a mad, mad world, and it's all coming out right now. But it's a good way for us to come together on the internet. Now, I've been on social media, and I think some of you have heard, that I've had my YouTube channel like flagged and censored so much. My Facebook account has been taken down, I don't know, about 10 times. I can't get on with my name. Um, and we're always being segregated, censored, divided. Just when we start to make an impact, boom, they pull the plug. So, which is why I think a lot of people are getting that they need to create like online communities where they can bring people in and share uncensored what they're trying to say. Because obviously, the one thing that's good about all this is that it's validated the fact that I have something very important to say, even though I'm not always sure what I'm going to say. The fact that they are trying so desperately to stop me obviously means something. And even with this talk show, I had two different producers, and each one of them went out of business. So, so it's time for us to take control and to start creating communities, because we're getting those of us who are the founders, racists, the leaders, the change. We're starting to get the nudge to come together, to find one another. And all that social media that is in the hands of, the power men is not going to help you and support you in that. They don't want us to come together. They want us to post things, and to look at, like gossip of disclosure. And what that does actually is it takes the wind out of your sails. When you post something, oh yeah, I posted it, maybe 5 people see it. You think the whole world saw it. And you feel like you did something, but you really have had a very minimal impact. So as we come together, and I talked last week about how I've been having mice, 2 mice, but mice, they reproduce very rapidly. They have like litters of 8, and they're small, but in numbers they're very powerful. So that's what we're doing. We're coming together and we're connecting telepathically, but it's also good to know where we are. And I was saying before, we can't come together. We haven't been together in the physical because many of us, especially the ones of us that carry very high encryptions, have been strategically positioned throughout the earth, the planet right now, because we're holding the earth's templates, the grid system together. Because as all this massive energy comes in and pours in through the Crystal River failsafe host, through the Nomi scene, and we see the solar flares and the Schumann resonance spiking and going crazy. the earth is expanding and contracting and shifting. Here we have in Sicily, the volcanoes are going off, and all over the world there's just stuff happening. So we're energetically holding together that blueprint. So we have to stay at our post and be grounded and be where we are. So and there's just a few of us, so we're strategically positioned all over the planet. We have to stay there. So this is why it's a good time right now, until the Tartarian technology comes up and we can just walk through a portal and visit with one another, that we can communicate here online. So that's why that's what I got when I never know why I do stuff. I always say I just work here, and I do follow directions, because every time I don't follow directions, I've ended up paying royally for it. I mean, really, really, it gets worse. The bigger you get, the harder you fall. And so I'm at the point where I just say, please make me listen to you. So, when they said create an online community, I was like, oh God. I can't just buy a piece of land and we all hang out there and grow our own food and chant kumbaya and, make bonfires at night and watch the stars. No. So so this is it is complicated for me, but this is the beginning. And I just felt like if I build it, they will come, and it's going to be hopefully I want it to go slow and get feedback from people, but it's going to be, I think, a very beautiful way for us to connect together, and then we can sidestep out into the physical, where we can create communities and hubs around the planet, where we can do these things in the physical, and where we can create Tartarian technology type of communities, where we're working with this technology. And, at first we might be invisible to many people, but as the 3D world collapses more and more, we're going to be the safety net, where we're going to be where people refuge to and come to, and we're going to be the ones in demand. We're going to be the world leaders, the guardians of our earth, and of course we're going to do it much different. We're going to do it from love, from unity, from service to others and ourselves, and that's why we're here. So it's crucial right now that you begin to wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, not to what's going on around you, but to how powerful you are, how infinite you are, what a huge treasure you have within you of resources that you have not even tapped into yet. It's time to start mining these resources. All you need to do is just clear out the rubble so you have space, and then you'll start downloading. You'll getting visions. You'll be getting visions. You'll be getting instructions. You'll be getting information, and you might not understand it at first, but just jot it down. Make a note of it. Start opening that flow, that channel, so you actually write it down or paint it or design it, or give some kind of manifestation to it, so that flow will build, because you came here with a very unique soul mission. I've been saying that, just like your thumbprint, something only you can do. And it's vital. It's vital to the foundation of the planet right now, because we're a puzzle, and each puzzle piece needs to come together. And that's what we're doing right now. And that's why I'm creating, the community, the Infinite Humans, co-creating the New Earth. It was the name of the community, but it's under my domain, infinitehumanschool.com. And, you can go there, and it's a work in progress. And I love feedback. I love to hear from you guys, but we need to start these communities where we can come together, support one another, and begin to network and begin to co-create together. Because I might have blueprints for part of something, and then you or someone else has blueprints for the other half. It's like missing puzzle pieces, and when we come together, we're like, aha, I didn't know what I was doing, and you realize, oh my God, I'm not crazy. I'm not insane. And it's a good feeling, let me tell you, because many of you have felt like that. And that's why we push these ideas, niggles, these nudges out of our consciousness, because it's been perhaps creating anxiety, because we thought, wow, where's this taking me? And am I going to be, considered, a laughing stock, or shunned or crazy for what I'm doing, because all our lives, ever since we were small, we've been trying to fit in to a broken world. So fit in no longer. And do not be distracted by all the craziness that's going on. Don't give it power, okay? Don't give the parasites, any power over you. Don't play their rules, just observe it, but keep yourself going. And one thing I learned the other day, for example, because I have been very busy inside the net working, to build this community, and it rained and I had no power. My electricity got shut off, screwed up. And I also, my battery, I left my headlights on, my battery died in my car. So I'm out in the country, no, nothing. And my cell phone's dying, thank God everything worked out fine. But it was beautiful because I just, no internet, no electricity, no, I can't do what I do every day, wake up and work on my computer and the internet. And it was wonderful because I just went for a walk out in this beautiful place where I live. I live in the most God beautiful place. It's so amazing. And I just felt so peaceful. It was so healing to get back. And I always spend time in nature, but just to drop the internet and be in nature. And I had food, I had water, and I had a roof over my head, and it was fine. So I just think, as they push you more and more to put all your resources, all your energy, all your time inside the net, I've always said we do need it for certain things, but I would strongly suggest, if this resonates with you, and of course you'll know what to do when the time's right, but which I have, maintain your foundation outside of the net. Don't have all your money there. Have some cash, have some gold and silver coins or whatever you can that you can trade, have some food, grow some food. And the future, the community, the thriving is going to come from communities, because as they push everyone to get on the net, everything's in the net, and you're in big cities, you're in the smart, everything's categorized. If you can get out of all that and just be in a small, simple, beautiful little community, which I live in, out in the country, or a little community where you start to really know the people around you. You start to, and this is new for me because, I don't speak Sicilian. I speak Italian, but not Sicilian. So, but there's such good-hearted people. There's some really good people. I mean, there's bad people. There's good people too. And they'll gravitate toward your frequency, and you'll know who they are. And, you want to know, like, who's feeding you, the restaurants or the produce stands, the grocery stores, you want to know, or you want to, grow your own stuff, but you want to have your own food. You want to have your own money, or whatever you can trade and barter with people, if the electricity does go out, and don't create that, but I'm just saying, you want to have, your foundation outside of the net, and then you use the net, but you're not in the net. You're not controlled by the net. You're not controlled by, the technological tyranny that's going on, that the elites have moved to through AI now. And you want to, just communities, small communities are the future. Support your farmers, support the people who are actually doing things, smile and get to know people, talk to people, let go of this mind control of taking sides and dualistic and, us against them. That's that's where they have you. That's what they want you to do. But if you can really start, even if you're in a big city, but even big cities have like kind of small little communities where people can go and work and help with one another, because that's what they don't want us to do, coming together and helping and supporting one another. They want us totally dependent on, the net, not on the infinite, but on the net. So it's a real good time to make these small moves wherever you are, and especially Americans, because God, they've done such a great job at destroying, the small communities, the small towns, the small businesses in the States. Here, all the businesses are run by families, by people. And, the craftsmen, they still do things that they've done for hundreds of years, and they still make food the way they've done for hundreds of years. They really treasure their land and their food, so, I mean, they've got problems and family, but they've got the foundation. And as the frequencies rise, I can see these things clearing out. The mafia families will be giving way to more like a star family, Christic family. So and so you want to start laying the correct foundation. And might not mean that you just get together with a bunch of friends and buy a piece of land and grow your own food and whatever, but it could. But you start where you are. Start where you are, because we're the change, and we're bleeding the higher frequencies into the people around us, and they're hungry for it, many of them. And those that aren't, then just let them be, because they're parasites, and they're going to go looking for something else they can parasite off of, and they're going to fall to the wayside, because the energies do not support that parasitic behavior anymore. And likewise, with all these, just thinking of the gala in the Windsor Castle with all the big, heads of industry, the captains of industry there. And the more they weave their plans to, that are like parasitic energies that want to enslave you, that want to feed off of you, that want to um, own you, the more they're going to crumble. And they're going to learn that, because they know what works, and they're beginning to realize that they can't get away with that. So they're going to have to start shifting things so that they not just look like they're good, but they're going to have to move it to what they say. It's traditionally, I'll just say the parasites, the elites, whatever you want to call them, will say something, points of light, and we can all communicate with one another, and it'll be a wonderful way, whatever, for what they're selling. And then underneath it, they'll have their own agenda. Well, they're going to have to bring their agenda, their underneath agenda is not going to take root. It does not have fertile soil anymore. All right. Those kind of agendas based on power, based on greed, based on narcissistic manipulation of others, based on vampiring people's resources and energies, will not be able to grow and flourish in the higher frequencies. They just don't support that. So these people are learning that the hard way. So let them spin their little, play their little, I say their little monopoly games, because and they'll soon realize that the monopoly board has changed. So I've said a mouthful today. I hope that this helps you. Now, I'm not doing this. I'm doing this live, but I changed the times. I'm sorry. I'm more kind of coming on and talking when I feel like I have something important, a download to say, because I'm working more directly, like I said, with my star family, the guardians, the monads. And when I have something that needs to get out, I just kind of let it come out, when I feel like the frequencies are running, rather than fitting, a schedule like every Monday at 6 a.m. on the, blah, blah, blah channel. So today I just felt like this was really important to get out right now, because you need to hear this and just sit with it, because the times are going to get really, really crazy. And if you're not grounded, like I said, you're where you are, wherever you are, there's a reason you're there. All right. Unless you get really strong, you're supposed to move. You need to set anchor, ground yourself where you are, because you're part of holding this grid, the energetic template of the earth, together during this massive, massive change and shift and ascension. And that's important. And two, you need to really tune inward. Even if you need to meditate, if you need to just turn everything off, for a day, or an hour, for whatever you can, or go away for a weekend and just be in nature. But stop stop looking like the latest thing, the latest thing. What's the breaking news? What's the latest thing? What's the latest? And it's gossip, really. It's become, conspiracy gossip now. And I'm not saying, like I said, my book, The Infinite Human, I went from every institution. I talked about how everything is inverted, perverted, upside down, and misaligned. And, so it's true. And if you need to see more and more, I mean, it is fascinating to see how these things are so aligned. But now it's gotten to the point where it's just becoming like sensational. And so many talk shows, are trying to like really build their audience around the latest sensational conspiracy news. And that's the farthest thing from me. I'm not trying to reach a million, billion. I'm not trying to have the top podcast or talk show. All I'm trying to do is magnetize the people that have contracted to, first of all, wake you up to remember who you are, how powerful you are, and then to magnetize you towards coming together to fulfill your mission, your soul mission. Okay, remembering who you are, remembering what you came here for, and then nurturing and supporting you, because that's so important. The external world has knocked you down so much. I mean, ever since you were little and you picked up a crown, you have to color with inside the lines. There's been so much stagnating and sabotaging and interrupting that infinite creative flow. And that's what my book, The Magical Mist, was all about. How we were robbing our children of their creative sparkle. So my logos is light up the planet with your creative sparkle. So I want to bring people in, help them clean their up their stories, leave behind their old stories, their old programs, and really get centered and grounded in their heroic self. And then that's when the fun begins. Then we can start nurturing and inspiring one another and sparking, our creative sparkles, and really just empowering that infinite creative part of ourselves, especially as women. Women are they're creators of life, of the life force, of chi, of prana, of everything. So they're portals into the higher dimensions. So that's what my job is, and I love that job. That's one of my jobs. And it keeps growing every day. I'm like, oh, what do you want me to do today? Okay, wow, that's weird. And so I like you, have no idea of the magnitude of what I'm doing. And if I did, I'd probably freak out. But also my little brain couldn't even handle it. So which is why you really have to act on these and covet these little intuitive hits that you're getting, these little intuitive niggles that you're getting, because they're just opening the doorway more and more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then as we come together in communities, it'll just grow, because we'll be like, your spark with my spark with their spark, and we'll just have this beautiful bonfire of creative co-creation. So that's what I'm very excited about. That's what I'm passionate about right now. And that's where I'm going. And again, that's what I'm at the just the very beginning of, the doorstep of creating the infinitehumans.school.com. So anyway, I hope this resonates with you, or if it does, if it doesn't, then you're not part of that. But if it does, then reach out, because it's really helpful, I find. First of all, I love doing this because it reinforces and builds my connection with Infinite Source and my faith within myself and what I'm doing. And then it also, it's like a pebble I drop, and then you're another ripple, and you go out and you affect the change, on and on and on. So this is how we grow. This is how the foundation of the new earth is going to be set. And we're about to enter a really beautiful, creative, expansive new renaissance. So don't let them pull you back with all their distractions, with all their soap opera drama, with all their, conspiracy, gossip. Don't pay your attention there. Don't give your quantum to that. Tune in. Remember how powerful, how sacred, how infinite, how divine, and how creative you are. And cherish and honor and respect every little thought and idea and gift and talent that you have, or that you don't even know you have, because you are a treasure, an untapped resource. And it's time for you to start tapping yourself. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, so I'm going to close this. I don't know how long I've been talking. I just kind of started, but I feel like we've reached a good ending point, and love you guys so much. And please do reach out at infinitehumans.school.com if you feel so called to. And I'll talk to you the next time. Ciao for now.